Welcome to the Parsha Perspective. Each week, we will delve deep in a weekly Torah portion to find a practical and insightful way to enhance your daily life.
Thank you for tuning in. My name is Shalom Yemini. Each week, we will look into the weekly Torah portion to find inspiration that will complement your daily life and intensify your connection to God.
This week's Parsha Perspective is dedicated in memory of Rav Gabi and Rivki Holtzberg, Hashem Yimkam Damam. They were killed on the 29th of Cheshvan in 2008 while helping Jewish people in Mumbai, India. May their memory continue to inspire others around the world to strengthen their connection to God. This week's Parsha Perspective is dedicated in memory of Shlomo Ben Edward and Edward David Shaul Ben Efraim. May their souls be uplifted and their memories a blessing. This week's Parsha Perspective is also in honor of Sasson Batzal Ben Batya and Safir Bat Ariella. May they have a quick and speedy recovery. This week's Torah portion is Parshas Toldos. Our Parsha introduces us to the third and final forefather, Yaakov Avinu. Similar to Avraham, Yitzchak and Rivkah were childless for a very long time. However, after 20 years, Hashem finally accepted their prayers, their davenings, and Rivka gave birth to twins, Esav and Yaakov. Even from birth, Yaakov and Esav were complete opposites. The firstborn Esav was naturally red and very hairy. However, contrasting Yaakov, who is very small and only managed to leave the womb because he grabbed on to Esav's heel. As the two grew older, the differences became more evident. Esav was a man of the field and an expert hunter, as opposed to Yaakov, who is a gentle and modest person. Esav also served idols and married women from Canaan, which greatly upset Yitzchak. However, at the same time, Yaakov spent his time studying Torah and developing his relationship with God. At the age of 123 years old, Yitzchak summoned Esav and told him that he wanted to bless him. However, he first asked him to hunt an animal and prepare a meal so he could eat. Rivka, who overheard this conversation, quickly cooked meat and told Yaakov to put on some of Esav's clothing to trick Yitzchak into giving him the blessings. Yaakov did as he was instructed. He first put on Esav's clothing and took the meal that his mother had made and went in to his father's tent. Under the impression that Esav had returned because Yitzchak was blind, Yitzchak gave Yaakov the blessings that he intended to give Esav, including the most important one, mastery over his brother. As soon as Yitzchak concluded, Yaakov left his father's presence just as Esav returned back from the field. Yitzchak, who now understood what just transpired, informed Esav that he already gave the blessings to Yaakov, and now Esav was enraged. He determined that he wanted to kill his younger brother Yaakov. However, Rivka already sent him to Haran to find a wife. However, a question comes to mind. The Torah describes Yaakov as a timid person. As the pasuk writes, he was an ish tam, a modest and simple person. Now Rashi writes that a tam is a person who does not know how to lie or cheat. And yet we see that Yaakov seemingly lied to his father when he got his blessings. As the pasuk writes, Vayomer Yaakov el Aviv, Anechi Esav becharecha. And Yaakov said to his father, I am Esav, your firstborn. How could the Torah describe Yaakov as a person who does not know how to lie if he did so to receive his blessings? The Radak on this pasuk, Rav David Kimchi, he writes that at critical points in a person's life, they are allowed to lie for the sake of harmony and peace. As we see with Avraham Avinu telling Pare that Sarah, his wife, was not his wife in actuality, but was his sister. Or when Yaakov told Yishmael that both he and Yitzchak would return after they would finish their karbanes when he was about to slaughter Yitzchak. So when Yaakov told his father that he was Esav, he only did so to obtain the blessings that were meant for him. For he was to carry out the knowledge of God to the next generations. And therefore he needed to be the recipient of the ultimate blessing, being a master over his brother. And the Radak continues that Yaakov only followed his mother's instructions and directions. For Yaakov would not lie on his own, but since he knew that Rivka was a tzadikis, a neviah, a prophetess, an extremely righteous person, and therefore he listened to her because he knew that she would not lead him off the path. However, the Orach Chaim HaKadosh, Rav Chaim Ibn Attar, gives a deeper and more profound explanation. He explains that when Yaakov responded to his father, Anechi Esav becharecha, I am Esav your firstborn, he meant that I am just like Esav your firstborn. For Esav sold his birthrights away for a bowl of soup when Avraham Avinu passed away. And since Esav sold his birthrights to Yaakov, Yaakov was completely within his rights to tell his father that he was taking over Esav as the firstborn of the family. And therefore, Yaakov did not actually lie when he told Yitzchak that he was Esav the firstborn. For Yaakov would not lie, as honesty was his character trait. As it says in Micha, Titin emes leYaakov v'chesed leAvraham. You have given truthfulness to Yaakov and kindness to Avraham in days gone by. In our daily life, it is imperative that we always be truthful and honest with each other, even when it is difficult. Because when we lie, we do not only deceive others, but ourselves as well. We can begin to believe the falsehood that we are saying. And this will lead us on a path of downfall and ruin. For lies are only a temporary delay to the inevitable truth that will shatter false pretenses that we work so hard to maintain. And therefore, we must be truthful and honest even when it is challenging and difficult, for it will allow us to sleep better at night knowing we have nothing to hide. There's an amazing quote that I once heard. Honesty is the best way to prevent a mistake from turning into a failure. Have a great weekend and a good Shabbos. Thank you for tuning in to the Parsha Perspective. Check out our website, theparshaperspective.com. Send thoughts and comments to theparshaperspective@gmail.com. Till next time, thanks for listening.